I'd like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal people, the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and pay my respects to their elders, both past and present. On behalf of Amnesty International Australia's 80,000 supporters, I'd also like to thank the committee for giving us the opportunity to participate this week. With nearly 40,000 written submissions, community roundtables selling out faster than ACDC tickets, the public's engagement with this process has put an end to the myth that only lawyers and academics care about human rights. The results of the consultation provide an extraordinary opportunity to make a real difference to the lives of people across Australia, to protect and defend their human rights, to deliver on our international obligations, and we need to do it, and we need to do it now. The response to the consultation has broken all records. Thousands of people have told us with great passion that they want a fair go for all. Their views echo those of world leaders who in 1948 developed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Alongside other world leaders, Australia committed to global values and made 30 global promises. They recognise that everyone is born free and equal in dignity and rights. Since the development of the Declaration, Australia has been an active international citizen. As a signatory to international treaties, Australia is both legally and morally committed to protecting all of the rights enshrined in the Declaration. And now is the time to put the words, to put the signatures and the promises into action. Thousands of individuals have participated in the process, from towns and cities, from regional and rural areas. They span generations, demographics and cultural backgrounds. And the resounding call from the 10,601 people who sent Amnesty International their submissions is the call for better human rights protection. We've also found widespread public support in opinion polls. In a poll earlier this year, 81% of people supported the introduction of a law to protect human rights. And 85% of those people believed it should be a high priority for government. A Human Rights Act is a key step in improving protection. And this consultation process gives us a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to improve the lives of millions of Australians for this generation and for generations to come. The polls and submissions share a common vision, a vision of a just and fair Australia. Amnesty shares this vision of Australia being the land where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. And to help achieve this, we have 3 recommendations to improve human rights. Our first recommendation is that the government should introduce a Human Rights Act. International best practice shows that an act can be a key step forward to ensuring the human rights of all people are protected and promoted. History has shown us that self-regulation is not the best method, and a "we'll be right mate" approach does not protect the most vulnerable in society. An act would provide a single document where the protection and promotion of human rights would be set out. As Clarissa from Queensland wrote to us, if it's not in an act, it's just words we can ignore. And Michael from South Gippsland, adopt the Human Rights Act, weave it into the fabric of our society, stand by it and promote it. Let us set an example for the whole world. Our second recommendation is that the Human Rights Act should include the protection and promotion of all rights for all people. As Article 5 of the Vienna Declaration states, all rights are universal, indivisible, interdependent and interrelated. People in Australia have told us that they strongly believe in these principles and don't want the current picking and choosing approach. Eleanor from Woodville said to us, "You can't just pick one. Human beings deserve all of these things. We're all the same in the end." And Sahil from Melbourne, "People deserve a fair go in every aspect of life." Our third recommendation is that the Act must establish effective and independent systems, institutions and means of accountability. This needs to include appropriate and accessible ways of preventing human rights violations and resolving breaches. As highlighted this week, There are many good practices to learn from both within Australia and from across the world. A Human Rights Act must be supported to encourage a culture of human rights in our society. Educating the public service on its responsibility to recognise the dignity and rights of all people is crucial in minimising human rights breaches, as is the positive promotion and protection of human rights when developing policies, making decisions and delivering day-to-day services. Sadly, we know that breaches and violations will still take place. But that's why, as well as having an act and a proactive human rights-based approach, we also need to include ways to deal with things when they go wrong. Just as the Crimes Act and policing doesn't stop all crime, a Human Rights Act also needs avenues for ensuring checks and balances on those responsible for making policy, the Parliament, and those responsible for implementing it, the Executive. And this is why the third arm of government, the judiciary, needs to be involved. Sabina from Adelaide wrote to us, respect, remedy and responsibility. Without basic foundation factors, nothing else can get done. In conclusion, human rights are about ensuring that all people have their rights protected and they are treated with dignity. As Helen from South Australia said, a society's level of stability, humanity and greatness is determined by the extent to which it cares for the poorest and most disadvantaged. A Human Rights Act will provide a vital safeguard for members of the community who are the most vulnerable, the most at risk and the least likely to have their voice heard. Education and training without a Human Rights Act is not enough. Legislative scrutiny without oversight is inadequate. A law without avenues for dealing with breaches is insufficient. An act without all rights and all people protected is unacceptable. We have an historic opportunity right now to make a real difference and create a fairer and more equal society. Dignity, freedom, equality and justice for all Australians is what Australians want, it's what they've told us. A Human Rights Act is a key step forward. Let's do it and let's do it now. Thank you.